I believe, and Jessica will probably agree with me, they would rather have crime high than give Trump credit for lowering it. Because the crime in Portland's been bad. The murders have doubled. Arson's up. Violent assault is all up. And he's going to be going city to city throughout the entire year, hammering crime, hammering illegal immigration. And what are Democrats going to do? They're going to be pro-crime, pro-illegal immigration. And they're going to look dangerous, and they're going to look reckless, and they're going to look stupid. And you can't defend MS-13, criminals, Antifa, late-night millionaires, Comey, while the president is out there defending police, citizens, the military. It's just a bad look, and they're making the same mistakes they made going into the last election.
Jessica, one of the things, talking to my friend in D.C., they said that on Capitol Hill, they were walking around the other night, the National Guard was there, everybody seemed happy with it, the mayor seems to have accepted them, and so that as that works there, if there is proof of concept in other places like Chicago or Portland, will the protests back down?
Well, there's a difference between D.C. and these other places because Donald Trump is actually in charge of D.C. The other states elect their own governments, and they are the ones who are responsible for the health and safety of their citizenry and have a right to push back against a president that has not been invited to send his troops. And he's already been overruled by a court for what he did in Los Angeles, where they said you can send them, but they can only guard that building. So we're going to have a couple hundred National Guard members standing around one building, and that's what it's going to end up being. Or you'll have scenes like we had from Chicago. I'm sure you guys saw a delivery guy went by ICE officers that were standing there wearing masks just in the middle of the day, a nice kind of, fall day in Chicago, and I think he yelled F Trump at them, and then you see them chasing him down the street, and he gets away. And that's what a lot of people think is going on here, that it is unnecessary, and that doesn't mean that there isn't a way to work together maybe on the south side of Chicago. But in Oregon, I trust the AG there who says we have enough people to deal with this, and they have been dealing with it for several months. President Trump and the administration want to normalize militarized cities. They've talked about it. It doesn't bother them. It doesn't bother Jesse. He would, if we walked outside there, he wouldn't be upset if he saw a militarized New York City.
Kathy Hochul put the guard in the subway, and you didn't have a problem with that,
Kathy
did you?
Hochul is in charge of New York State. Donald Trump is not in charge of Oregon or in charge of Illinois, but he doesn't seem to understand that. And when he floats this emergency power, says, well, I'll call a national emergency, that to me, my spidey sense goes off. I think back to what happened in the 2020 election when he decided, I won this election, I'm going to do whatever I want in order to stay in power, that he doesn't want to have an election in 2026. He'll say, oh, we're having an emergency, can't have our normal voting days, can't have mail-in ballots.
He thinks he's going to win.
I don't think he thinks he's going to win.
Let me get Emily in here, because Kathy Hochul sent the guard into the subways for 4 days to check people's, check my backpack. And then that went away because that was about politics. That wasn't about anything other than that.
Which is ironic considering that one of Oregon's arguments is that this situation is a political stunt. If Trump wants to normalize militarizing cities, which I disagree with, libs want to normalize crime. That's what's so frightening about this. The contrast to me is it would be laughable if it wasn't with the collateral damage of a totally destroyed city, of that group of 6 middle-aged women in the sunshine wearing striped sweaters in probably the Northwest District of Portland, and it's sunny and everything's awesome. And you juxtapose that imagery with what we show on our networks, which seem to escape all networks in the Portland area, of showing these federal agents being violently attacked ruthlessly and relentlessly. And the logic and the legality of the local and state officials usurping or pushing back against the usurping of President Trump's executive power only works if they haven't abdicated their duty. Homicide rose 144% since 2020 in Portland. Non-fatal shootings, 241%. And yet the mayor there dismantled their SWAT gun crimes unit. And then he tried to dismantle police responding to violence. And so when park rangers did, they had to call the cops when they had to face freaks with guns and knives. It is a joke that the Oregon state and the Oregon local elected officials seem to think the facts don't support dads stepping in when there is complete chaos with the nanny in the home, when the kids are running around destroying businesses. And I feel like when we look at the prosecution rates, right, they are less than, or you could say over 80% that are declined to prosecute on the local level. Oregon thinks that posse comitatus is going to be the motto. The whole point is if you're not taking care of your citizens, state, then the federal government is going to do it for you. And any Portlandian person will tell you that it has been utterly destroyed with businesses and property values and homes, including my own dad who had to move out of the city. So we live the trash every day, all day. Please, President Trump, thank you for sending in someone that actually knows what they're doing.
I just love how